The world remembers the pyramids of Giza as the eternal symbols of mystery and power. They stand against the desert sky like sentinels of eternity, whispering tales of pharaohs and lost dynasties. But what if Egypt was not the beginning? What if pyramids, far older and scattered across the globe, carry a forgotten story of human civilization? One that predates the pharaohs and dares to rewrite history itself. These are not the pyramids you know. Hidden in jungles, buried under hills, and rising in deserts where few dare to look, they suggest that ancient humanity may have shared a knowledge we no longer understand. Tonight, we journey across continents in search of 5 forgotten pyramids, monuments that should not exist, yet do. The puzzle of global pyramids. At first glance, pyramids seem uniquely Egyptian. The Great Pyramid of Giza, built more than 4,500 years ago, is still considered one of humanity's greatest architectural feats. Its scale, precision, and alignment with celestial bodies remain unmatched. Yet Egypt is not alone in its obsession with pyramids. From South America to Southeast Asia, from Africa to Europe, the pyramid emerges again and again. Step pyramids, smooth-sided pyramids, even massive structures disguised as natural hills, all appear in cultures separated by oceans and thousands of years. How can it be? For mainstream archaeology, the answer is often simple: coincidence. Different cultures, they argue, found the pyramid shape to be the most stable way to build tall structures. A practical solution, not a shared secret. But the deeper you look, the more the puzzle resists easy explanations. Because many of these pyramids are not just stable, they are aligned to stars, to solstices, to magnetic north. They carry mathematical precision that feels deliberate, not accidental. And some of them, if dating is to be believed, could be thousands of years older than Egypt's celebrated monuments. Consider this. The oldest Egyptian pyramids are dated around 2600 BCE. But far across the ocean, in the arid valleys of Peru, a people with no contact with Egypt were building pyramids in the very same era, or perhaps even earlier. In the mountains of Indonesia, stone terraces claim to be not just old, but tens of thousands of years old, as if reaching back to a world before recorded history. And in Sudan, more pyramids stand than in all of Egypt combined, forgotten and overshadowed by their northern cousins. The global pyramid puzzle is not just about architecture, it is about memory. Did ancient civilizations inherit a lost blueprint, a knowledge passed down from a forgotten age? Or is the pyramid simply a universal instinct of humanity, a symbol carved into our subconscious? As we unravel this mystery, we will not find simple answers, but what we will uncover are questions powerful enough to shake the foundations of history itself. The story begins in South America. Deep in the Supe Valley of Peru lies a site few, outside archaeology, have ever heard of. It is older than Machu Picchu, older than the Inca Empire, older even than Egypt's Great Pyramids. Here, an ancient city whispers its secrets through eroded stone platforms. Its name is Caral, and its pyramids may be the oldest in the Americas. Caral, the oldest city of the Americas. The desert of coastal Peru is a place of silence. Winds sweep across barren valleys where the land appears empty, timeless, untouched. But hidden within this desolation is a secret older than most civilizations we know. A city that predates the pharaohs. A city where pyramids rise not from the sands of Egypt, but from the soil of South America. This place is called Caral. Archaeologists describe it as the first urban center of the Americas, a city flourishing around 2600 BCE, the same era as the earliest Egyptian pyramids, and possibly older. For centuries, it lay buried under the desert, mistaken for nothing more than eroded hills. Only in the late 20th century did researchers begin to peel away its disguise, revealing pyramids, plazas, and an organized society that emerged seemingly out of nowhere. Caral was no small village. It stretched across more than 150 acres, with monumental architecture dominating its landscape. At its heart stood the Great Pyramid of Caral, a massive stepped platform rising nearly 60 feet. Around it, smaller pyramids and ceremonial plazas formed a city that could house thousands of people. But here is the first mystery. Caral had no defensive walls, no signs of warfare, no weapons, no battlegrounds. In an age when survival often meant conflict, Caral thrived without the scars of war. It was as if the pyramid was not a fortress, but something more, something that held society together through ritual, belief, or knowledge. Another enigma lies in its sophistication. Caral's builders engineered not only pyramids, but also complex irrigation systems, housing structures, and amphitheaters. They developed quipu, knotted strings used for record-keeping, a system later adopted by the Inca. They cultivated cotton, which became essential for fishing nets, allowing coastal trade to flourish. In short, Caral was a civilization built on cooperation and exchange, not conquest. Yet perhaps the greatest riddle is this. Why pyramids? The pyramid shape dominates Caral's architecture. Rising terraces of stone and earth, carefully aligned, suggest more than practicality. They echo a form that appears in cultures oceans apart. To build such structures required a vision of permanence, a desire to touch the sky, and perhaps a belief that the pyramid connected heaven and earth. Some researchers believe Caral's pyramids were ceremonial centers, used for gatherings, offerings, and astronomical observations. Fires burned atop them during rituals, their glow visible across the valley at night. Imagine the scene. Thousands of years ago, in the dry silence of the Supe Valley, flames crowned the pyramids, while music from bone flutes, made from pelican bones, drifts into the darkness. It is haunting, otherworldly, almost unimaginable. But Caral holds yet another layer of mystery, its sudden silence. Around 1800 BCE, Caral collapsed. Its people abandoned the pyramids, leaving behind only stone and sand. Why? Some blame climate change, a megadrought that struck the region, making agriculture unsustainable. Others suggest earthquakes or floods, but in truth, no one knows. The civilization simply vanished, leaving its pyramids as lonely guardians of the desert. And yet, when we look at Caral in the grand puzzle of history, the questions grow louder. How did a civilization, with no known predecessors, leap so suddenly into advanced urban life? Why did they choose pyramids as their monuments, the same form that Egyptians, Mesopotamians, and later Mesoamericans would also revere? Is it coincidence, or the echo of a knowledge shared long before recorded history? Caral challenges the linear timeline of human progress. It suggests that great cities can rise independently, guided by unseen hands of innovation, or perhaps by memories of something even older, carried across generations. When you stand at Caral today, you don't see the glory of Giza's towering stones or Teotihuacan's vast avenue of the dead. Instead, you see quiet mounds of weathered earth and stone softened by time. But beneath that silence lies a profound truth. Before Egypt's pyramids were raised, before Greece or Rome or even the Inca, Caral had already reached for the sky. And Caral is only the beginning. Because half a world away, in the steaming jungles of Indonesia, another pyramid rises, a structure that may be not just thousands, but tens of thousands of years old. If the claims are true, it is the oldest pyramid on Earth, one that could overturn everything we think we know about human civilization. Its name is Gunung Padang, and it is where our journey now leads. Gunung Padang, the pyramid that shouldn't exist. High in the mist-covered highlands of West Java, Indonesia, lies a hill known to the locals as Gunung Padang, the Mountain of Light. At first glance, it appears ordinary, a green rise dotted with volcanic stones. Farmers graze their livestock nearby, and the silence of the landscape hides any suggestion of a great mystery. But Gunung Padang is no ordinary hill. For centuries, the local Sundanese people have regarded it as sacred ground. They whispered that it was ancient, built by hands long before their time. And in the 20th century, archaeologists began to take those whispers seriously. What they uncovered has since become one of the most explosive debates in modern archaeology. A claim that Gunung Padang may be 20,000 years old. If true, this pyramid would not only predate Egypt and Mesopotamia, it would predate every known civilization on Earth. In the early 1900s, Dutch colonial archaeologists noticed strange patterns of stone, blocks covering the summit of the hill. Arranged in terraces, the stones seemed deliberate, not natural. Later studies in the 1970s confirmed that the site was man-made, consisting of multiple layers of stone platforms stacked like steps. The layout was strikingly geometric, resembling a massive megalithic pyramid hidden beneath earth and vegetation. But the real shock came much later. In 2011, Indonesian geologist Dr. Danny Hilman Natawijaja and his team began conducting advanced surveys of Gunung Padang. Using ground-penetrating radar, seismic tomography, and core drilling, they revealed something astonishing. Beneath the surface terraces lay deeper structures, buried chambers, stone walls, and layers upon layers of human construction. Their conclusion was staggering. The upper terraces might be around 2,500 to 3,000 years old, consistent with other megalithic sites. But the deeper layers, they claimed, could be far older. Some samples suggested construction dating back 12,000 years. Others hinted at 20,000 years, an age that places Gunung Padang at the dawn of the last ice age, long before the rise of known civilizations. If Gunung Padang is truly that old, then the timeline of human history collapses. Mainstream archaeology tells us that agriculture began around 10,000 years ago, leading to the rise of cities and monumental architecture. Yet here, buried beneath an Indonesian hill, lies evidence of a structure older than farming itself. Who could have built it? And how? To accept Gunung Padang's extreme antiquity is to accept that advanced human societies existed before the end of the Ice Age, societies capable of designing, transporting, and assembling massive stones into pyramid-like monuments. It would mean that our ancestors were not primitive hunter-gatherers, but custodians of knowledge we barely understand. Unsurprisingly, Gunung Padang is controversial. Many archaeologists reject the extreme dating, calling it flawed or misinterpreted. They argue that natural geological processes could explain the deeper layers, and that the pyramid-like appearance is coincidental. To them, Gunung Padang is impressive but not world-shattering. A megalithic site, yes, but built within the last few thousand years. But others are not so quick to dismiss it. Some researchers point to the precision of the terraces, the deliberate arrangement of stone columns, and the possibility of hidden chambers beneath. If these chambers are man-made, then mainstream history must reckon with something far older than Egypt, Sumer, or the Indus Valley. Gunung Padang's mystery resonates beyond archaeology. It connects to global myths of lost civilizations, tales of Atlantis, of worlds destroyed in floods and cataclysms. If the pyramid truly dates back 20,000 years, it would align with legends of a great global disaster around 12,000 years ago, when glaciers melted and sea levels rose, submerging coastlines and perhaps entire cultures. The Sundanese, people themselves tell of Gunung Padang as a sacred site built by ancestors with extraordinary powers. Some even believe it was constructed by the legendary king Siliwangi, who commanded supernatural beings to raise the stones overnight. Myth, perhaps, but myths often hold fragments of truth. Today, Gunung Padang remains quiet. Its terraces lie under the open sky, visited by curious travelers and researchers who climb its ancient steps. To walk there is to step into a riddle. Are you standing on the work of farmers from a few thousand years ago, or on the bones of a civilization that lived and died before history began? The truth is not yet known. Excavations continue, debates rage, and the mystery of Gunung Padang deepens. But whether it proves to be 3,000 years old or 20,000, one thing is certain. It adds another piece to the puzzle of pyramids. A puzzle that stretches across continents, across time, and across the limits of what we believe humanity is capable of. And if Gunung Padang whispers of civilizations older than Egypt, it is not alone. In the deserts of Sudan, far from the Nile's familiar monuments, stand hundreds of pyramids, more than Egypt itself. Yet few outside Africa even know they exist. Forgotten, overlooked, but undeniably real, they hold the next chapter in our journey. The Nubian Pyramids of Sudan. The Nubian Pyramids of Sudan, Egypt's forgotten neighbors. When people think of pyramids, the image is almost always Egyptian. Giza's towering monuments rising above the desert. Yet south of Egypt, along the banks of the Nile in modern-day Sudan, stands a forgotten kingdom, Nubia, where pyramids multiplied in silence. Here, in the sands of Meroe, more than 200 pyramids pierce the desert sky. That is more than all the pyramids of Egypt combined. Yet ask the average person about them, and they will know nothing. These monuments are ghosts of a kingdom overshadowed by its northern neighbor, a chapter of history rarely told. The pyramids of Sudan were built by the kingdom of Kush, a powerful civilization that thrived for over 1,000 years. At times, the Kushites were Egypt's rivals. At other times, they ruled Egypt itself, becoming the famous 25th dynasty of pharaohs. Their kings and queens, known as the Black Pharaohs, adopted Egyptian traditions, but they also carved out a culture uniquely their own. Unlike Egypt's grand tombs, Nubian pyramids are smaller and steeper, rising sharply against the horizon. Many were built between 800 BCE and 300 CE, long after Egypt's golden age of pyramid building had passed. But some evidence suggests earlier roots, pointing to traditions of monumental architecture that may have flowed both north and south along the Nile. Why did the Kushites build so many pyramids? The answer is unclear. For them, pyramids served as royal tombs, much like in Egypt. But the sheer number in Sudan suggests a deeper cultural importance. Every ruler seemed compelled to leave behind one, turning the desert into a necropolis of stone. And here lies the paradox. Egypt's pyramids became world wonders, while Nubia's fell into obscurity. Part of this is geography. Sudan, less accessible to Western explorers, was overlooked. Part of it is narrative. History has often focused on Egypt as the cradle of civilization, sidelining Nubia's contributions. Yet the pyramids of Sudan hold secrets worth remembering. Many are aligned with the stars, echoing the same celestial obsessions seen across the world, from Giza to Caral to Gunung Padang. Could it be coincidence, or a shared understanding that pyramids connected heaven and earth? Sadly, many Nubian pyramids bear wounds. In the 19th century, European treasure hunters blasted their tops with explosives, seeking gold and artifacts. What they destroyed were irreplaceable markers of history. What they found were fragments of burial goods, but also evidence that Nubia had been a sophisticated, wealthy kingdom connected to trade routes stretching from Africa to the Mediterranean. Standing at Meroe today, one feels the weight of neglect. The pyramids rise from red sand, silent, half-buried, with few visitors to witness them. Unlike Egypt, there are no crowds, no vendors, no global spotlight, just the wind and the whisper that here, too, human hands shaped eternity. The Nubian pyramids remind us that Egypt was not alone. Along the Nile, civilizations rose and fell, each leaving their mark in stone. Yet history remembers one and forgets the other. Why? Perhaps because Egypt fit the story of Western archaeology, while Nubia remained on the margins. But the pyramids are there, undeniable, waiting for recognition. And together, they raise a larger question. If both Egypt and Nubia turned to pyramids, was it cultural imitation, or echoes of an even older memory, a blueprint passed down from a forgotten source? From Peru to Indonesia, from Egypt to Sudan, the pyramid persists, and the mystery deepens further in Europe, where a hill in Bosnia has sparked one of the most heated debates in archaeology. Is it the largest pyramid in the world, or a geological illusion? The answer lies in the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun. The Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun, discovery or illusion? In 2005, a Bosnian-American businessman named Semir Osmanagic made a bold claim that shocked the archaeological world. In the quiet town of Visoko, Bosnia, he declared that a nearby hill called Visočica was not a natural formation, but the largest pyramid in the world. He named it the Pyramid of the Sun, a towering structure allegedly older than Egypt's Giza. If true, it would rewrite human history. But if false, it would stand as one of archaeology's most elaborate illusions. From a distance, Visočica Hill does look suspiciously geometric. Its slopes are unnaturally straight, its angles sharp, and its sides aligned almost perfectly with the cardinal directions. Osmanagic believed this could not be coincidence. He claimed it was a man-made pyramid, buried under thousands of years of soil and vegetation. Excavations soon began. Volunteers flocked from around the world, convinced they were unearthing a lost civilization. They uncovered what appeared to be stone blocks, tiled passages, and underground tunnels stretching for miles. Osmanagic spoke of advanced energy fields, astronomical alignments, and a forgotten European civilization that predated Egypt by tens of thousands of years. The media exploded with fascination. Could Bosnia, of all places, be home to the world's oldest pyramid? Mainstream archaeologists were quick to respond, and they were furious. Experts from Europe and beyond dismissed Osmanagic's claims, calling the Bosnian pyramid a hoax and a pseudoscientific fantasy. To them, Visočica was nothing more than a natural hill, its layered stones the result of geological processes, not human hands. The controversy deepened. On one side, believers insisted the excavations proved human construction. On the other, scientists declared that no credible evidence of tools, artifacts, or ancient culture had been found. UNESCO and leading universities distanced themselves, warning that real archaeological sites nearby could be damaged by reckless digging. And yet, the fascination only grew. Tourists poured into Visoko. Spiritual seekers claimed to feel strange energy fields near the pyramid. Underground tunnels, whether natural or carved, added fuel to the mystery, echoing stories of labyrinths beneath other pyramid sites around the world. The Bosnian Pyramid controversy exposes a deeper conflict. What happens when mainstream science clashes with alternative theories? Archaeologists demand hard evidence, artifacts, dating, cultural context. Believers, meanwhile, see alignments, shapes, and patterns that suggest intelligence. Could both sides be right? Perhaps the hill is natural, but later modified by humans. Or perhaps its geometry is coincidence, amplified by human imagination. The truth remains buried beneath layers of earth and layers of debate. What makes the Bosnian Pyramid so captivating is not only the question of authenticity, but what it represents. If it is real, then human history is older, more advanced, and more widespread than we've ever imagined. If it is not, then it shows how deeply we crave mystery, how we look at the land itself and see echoes of civilizations lost. In either case, the Bosnian Pyramid has done something remarkable. It has made people question the official narrative of history. And perhaps that questioning, that curiosity, is itself part of the human journey. Standing at the base of Visoko today, the hill rises like a silent giant. To believers, it is a buried monument whispering of forgotten ages. To skeptics, it is simply geology mistaken for greatness. But one fact remains. No matter the truth, the Bosnian Pyramid has carved its place into the story of global pyramids, reminding us that the line between discovery and illusion is often razor thin. And just when we think we've reached the limits of the pyramid mystery, another case emerges. From the jungles of Southeast Asia, where a pyramid-like hill in Indonesia may hold secrets reaching back to the very dawn of civilization. This is the mystery of Gunung Padang. Gunung Padang, Indonesia's steppe pyramid of forgotten time. High in the misty hills of West Java, Indonesia, lies a site locals have known for centuries, Gunung Padang, the Mountain of Light. At first glance, it appears to be nothing more than a hill covered in scattered stone terraces. Farmers and villagers long treated it as a sacred place, whispering of spirits and ancestors who once walked there. But beneath the surface of this quiet hill lies a mystery so profound it could rewrite the story of civilization itself. Gunung Padang first gained scholarly attention in the early 20th century, when Dutch colonists noted its strange arrangement of stone columns. Later, Indonesian archaeologists surveyed the site and confirmed it wasn't natural. It was man-made. The terraces, built from massive basalt blocks, formed a kind of step pyramid, rising toward the sky. For years, researchers assumed the site was a few thousand years old, perhaps built by early megalithic cultures. But then, in the 2010s, geologists and archaeologists began probing deeper. Using ground-penetrating radar and core samples, they made a stunning discovery. The terraces were just the surface. Beneath them lay layers upon layers of construction, stretching down more than 30 meters. The deeper they dug, the older it seemed to get. Some estimates dated the base layers to 12,000 years ago, or even 20,000 years ago. If true, this would mean Gunung Padang was built long before the rise of Mesopotamia, Egypt, or even known agriculture. How could such a structure exist at the end of the Ice Age, when humanity was believed to still be living in small, nomadic groups? Mainstream archaeology teaches that complex construction and organized societies didn't emerge until around 5,000, 6,000 years ago. And yet, Gunung Padang suggested otherwise. The sheer size of the stones, some weighing several tons, and the precision of their placement pointed to sophisticated engineering. This was not the work of scattered tribes. It hinted at an organized society, one capable of quarrying, transporting, and arranging massive stones into a planned monument. Could it be that a forgotten civilization thrived here? One erased from memory by time, floods, or catastrophe? Unsurprisingly, these claims ignited fierce debate. Supporters argued that Gunung Padang could be the world's oldest pyramid, older even than Göbekli Tepe in Turkey. They pointed to geological data, seismic surveys, and radiocarbon dating of organic material found deep within the structure. Skeptics pushed back, accusing the researchers of exaggeration. They argued that natural volcanic processes could explain some of the formations. To them, Gunung Padang was indeed ancient, but not tens of thousands of years old, and not evidence of a lost civilization. The controversy mirrored that of the Bosnian Pyramid. But Gunung Padang had one crucial difference: government support. The Indonesian authorities invested in research, with the president himself showing interest. For a time, Gunung Padang became a national symbol of pride, a hint that Indonesia's history might stretch back further than anyone imagined. Why Gunung Padang matters. What makes Gunung Padang so captivating is not just its possible age, but its placement. Indonesia sits on the edge of the Pacific Ring of Fire, a region prone to earthquakes and volcanic eruptions. It is also near areas that would have been swallowed by rising seas after the last ice age. If an advanced culture existed here, could it have been lost to floods? The same cataclysmic events described in myths of Atlantis, Mu, and other sunken civilizations. Some researchers believe Gunung Padang could be the last surviving remnant of such a society, preserved by chance in the hills of Java. Today, walking among the basalt terraces of Gunung Padang, you feel the weight of deep time pressing down. Moss-covered stones lean silently, as if holding secrets they cannot share. The air is thick with the echoes of a world we may never fully recover. Is this truly the oldest pyramid on Earth? Or are we once again seeing patterns where nature left only coincidence? The answer remains buried, literally, under layers of earth and controversy. Yet one thing is certain: Gunung Padang challenges us to reconsider what we know about human history. It whispers of a time when civilizations may have risen and fallen long before the first pharaoh ever walked the sands of Egypt. And if that's true, then perhaps pyramids are not just monuments of stone, but messages across time, left behind by forgotten ancestors. The pyramid's silent legacy. A message across time, from the sun-bleached sands of Sudan to the mist-shrouded hills of Indonesia. One truth emerges: pyramids are everywhere. They rise from deserts, jungles, and mountains, defying the idea that civilization began in one place and spread outward. The Caral Pyramids of Peru whisper of engineers who built without war, using music and ritual to bind society. The Nubian Pyramids of Sudan reveal an African legacy overshadowed by Egypt's fame, yet no less majestic. The Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun divides believers and skeptics, challenging the very nature of evidence. And Gunung Padang stands like a shadow from the Ice Age, hinting at civilizations that may have thrived before history began. Different lands, different peoples. Yet one repeating symbol: the pyramid. Why pyramids? Why would cultures separated by oceans, time, and language all build structures with the same unmistakable shape? Coincidence? Or a shared memory? Some scholars argue that pyramids are simply practical, stable shapes that withstand time. Others whisper of deeper meaning, that pyramids mirrored the heavens, serving as stairways to the gods, or as eternal markers aligned with stars. But perhaps the real question is not how they were built, but why. What drove humans to pile stone upon stone, generation after generation, to reach toward the sky? The possibility of lost civilizations Gunung Padang, if truly as old as claimed, forces us to consider the unimaginable, that civilizations far older than Egypt or Mesopotamia once existed, only to be swallowed by floods, earthquakes, and time. Their voices are gone, but their monuments remain, silent giants etched into the earth. Were these pyramids warnings, messages, or simply acts of devotion to forces we can no longer name? As we stand today in the 21st century, staring at satellite images of pyramids across continents, we see not isolation, but connection. Each structure, whether in Peru, Sudan, Bosnia, or Indonesia, reminds us that human beings, separated by vast distances, somehow shared a dream: to build something that outlives them. Perhaps pyramids are not just tombs or temples, but testaments to endurance, the hope that long after languages die and cities crumble, these stone shapes will still speak. And indeed, they do. The unanswered questions. Yet for every answer, more questions arise. Who truly designed these ancient pyramids? Were they built with knowledge lost to time, or rediscovered again and again across the globe? And why does their mystery continue to grip us thousands of years later? Standing before them, we realize something unsettling. We know less about our past than we like to believe. At sunset, when the last light touches the stones of Caral, or when mist drifts across Gunung Padang's terraces, it feels as though the builders are still there, watching, waiting, daring us to remember. Pyramids are not relics, they are riddles, and each one, whether forgotten, contested, or buried, is a doorway into a past that refuses to stay silent. The question is, will we ever have the courage to walk through that doorway? Because perhaps, somewhere out there, beyond the ruins we know, lies the greatest pyramid of all, still hidden, still waiting to reveal a truth that could change everything.